Hi guys, this is week 41 Project Life, no kit again this week, so I am going to do another 5 favorite things. Here is what I grabbed out of my stash. I grabbed a 6x6 paper pad, a packet of stickers, which is kind of a cheat I realised later because there's actually 3 different sheets in there. I've got the caffeinated stamp set from In a Creative Bubble and Feed Your Craft, some enamel shapes and a bunch of metal dies. So I'm starting with my photos, and obviously I've made a bit more of an effort this week with photo taking because I actually had enough for the spread. And I'm just going through this paper pad, which is Arabesque by Rosie Studio, and just picking out some papers that I think might coordinate with the spread. All the photos seem to be sort of quite pale and pastel-y toned, so that's what I'm gonna sort of go with. And then I realized that I had a few offcuts from this paper pad in a little bowl by my desk. So I went and grabbed those just in case there were any that would be more appropriate than the papers that are left. I've had quite a good go through this paper pad, and I quite like that wood grain pattern. And so I'm going to tone the other 3x4 card in the same way and use that yellow. So I've got a couple of warmer toned 3x4 cards. This one's got the most beautiful silver foiling in it, so I really love that. And that's all of my papers chosen. Now these papers are they are paper, they're not very cardstocky, they are quite thin, but they still work for Project Life. I just need to be a little bit more careful with them. Decide to start working on my title card, and this is when I realized that the sticker sheet actually has 3 different sticker sheets in it. I thought it was just the labels on top there, but turns out I got lucky because there's an alpha in the back of here as well too, so I can use that for my title card too. I just die cut this word hello. I quite liked that out of that lighter floral pattern. I didn't get quite as much colour out of it as I had hoped I would, but it still has a nice contrast with the green, so I was happy about that. It wasn't too light on light. And I'm just using a glue pen to dot a few bits of glue behind it. It is quite a light die, so it's harder to stick down, but this worked quite nicely. I've added it so it's a little bit hanging off the left, and then I just trimmed that down. And I'm going to play around with these stickers for ages. You'll see me. I do spell out, here's the joke guys, I spell out week 40. That's right. I put the wrong week date on, week number on here again. It's becoming a theme towards the end of the year here. Obviously I'm trying to relive the past or something, but I realised, not before I've turned off the camera, but I realised as I'm taking photos for this layout that I've put the wrong week again, so I end up having to shuffle all of these letters back again, and I do manage to fit week 41 on here. You'll see that at the end in the photos, but for now I'm just going to carry on shuffling. I really like that alpha. I love how it's clear. It sort of looks like I've stamped it on there, which luckily I didn't. I'm going to use one of these label stickers for my date stamp too, but I realized I was never going to be able to stamp on top of those. They are super shiny. I doubt even StazOn would work really well on there. So instead I'm going to stamp onto the paper and then layer that sticker over top. Because it is see-through transparent, it works really nicely, although my stamping wasn't particularly straight, but you'll see here it works how I wanted it to work, and I don't have any smudgy ink. I'm going to stick down my smaller photos, and I do always end up stapling or adding some extra sort of adhesive to those Instax photos. I have found before that the glue tends to dry up on them, and I have found a few that are floating loose through my album, so I make sure I always do something like that. And then I just added one of those tiny little stickers to it, the pink ones, just to bring in a bit more pink in the spread. I do that in a few places and it works really nicely. Now I've got my caffeinated stamp set. You'll have been seeing that a lot from me, to be honest. It's been one of my favourites, and because it's been such a busy, hard month, caffeine has been a regular feature around here. So I added my afternoon jolt stamp to the sort of blank space of my photo down on the bottom right, and then I'm just going to add coffee in my Moonlight White ink, and I really loved how that turned out. It worked out really nicely. I was worried it wouldn't because it was quite a light photo, and that Moonlight White ink works on dark photos really nicely, but that worked out really well. And then I'm just going to add one more to my cup here. It's funny how much actually of this spread was dictated to coffee now that I look at it. And I do end up using it somewhere else too. So I think there's always a way to use those sort of themed stamps for non-themed places. I was desperate to use this die cut, this love one. I just couldn't make it fit on here. It was quite a busy photo anyway. It's a really old die from Studio Calico, but I still really love it. So instead I decided to turn this wood grain card. It was going to be a journaling card, but I'm just going to turn it into a filler card. I didn't have a lot to say about this week. Obviously it was reasonably busy since it's all coffee related, so I decided just to add my love die cut and create a filler card for it. So I'm using a couple of other circle dies, one sort of scalloped and then one was just a plain circle, and it worked out that it fit perfectly behind that love die, so I got really lucky there. So I just die cut a little bit of the pink, again just to bring that pink up from the bottom to the rest of my spread, and I'm just layering those into the middle of that card, and I'm going to put that down like a bit of an embellishment sort of sticker, and I really love how it turned out. It looks really nice and it pulls in all of those colors from the spread really nicely. Again, I'm trying to pull in colors, so this isn't the same sort of green, it's definitely more of a teal, but it does tie them together a little bit. So I'm adding the 3 little arrow shapes. I really like those triangles added together in a bunch to sort of become arrows more than triangles. And then just a couple more little enamel dots onto my filler card. I wasn't really sure what to add next, so I went back through my metal dies and I found this cloud one. I was thinking about adding happy too, but it was too many words up the top, too word heavy. So I grabbed the cloud die and I've just die cut a piece of white 4x6. Now the die doesn't quite go all the way across, so I'm just going to sort of hand trim it. It's only a bubble sort of shape. I really like it to just fill in some of the blank space on this photo, and I guess it really helps to indicate that this photo was about rain. You can see it up close, but from here it's sort of like, oh, she's put a blurry photo on there. I haven't put a blurry photo on there. It's a photo of rain just streaming down our windows. So here we go, I'm adding a coffee stamp that's not about coffee, and then I'm going to add a few more of these letter stickers. So I'm just spelling out, but first rain, just because this is supposed to be spring, and honestly the weather has been pretty bad so far. So I liked how those stickers looked, but then I worried that I needed another place for them, otherwise again all the words are at the top. So I'm going to add some to my bottom right photo down here, and I wanted to spell out please. Afternoon jolt, please. It didn't quite fit, which was why I was just testing it first. It kind of would have fit, it would have been a squeeze, and although you can't see it very well here on the video, when you overlap these stickers you can see the overlap of them, and I don't really like that. So instead I changed my mind and put afternoon jolt now, which fit nicely and brings those words down to the bottom, which was what I was after. Just checking whether there was any more stamps I could add, and instead of stamps I'm going to add some of these stickers, again in that teal colour, to try and bring a bit more teal to this very pink card down the bottom here. Now you'll see I'm totally ignoring my own, simple works best rule, and I'm desperately trying to add something else up here. I just feel like the top needed a little bit of something else, and finally I worked out it just needed a little bit of pink. So I added 3 little pink stars to the title card and then called it done. So here you can see week 41, I did correct that before I put this a week away. Let me know down below if you've joined in on one of these 5 favourite things challenges. I really love them and I'd really love for you to join me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!